As tourist attractions go, the final resting places of famous people is go pretty high on the list. Just as the caretakers at Westminster Abbey, where the graves of kings, queens, poets, and scientists have seen millions of visitors over the year. And don't even get us started on Graceland, where Elvis' grave sees as many as 750,000 pilgrims per year. But when you go further back in history, you find that the final resting places of many great figures are mysteriously missing. Boudica, rebel queen. When the Romans conquered what is now England in around 43 CE, they allowed Prothodogus, the leader of the Celtic Iceni tribe, to continue to rule his people. But as soon as Prothodogus died in 60 CE, all bets were off. Not only did the Romans confiscate the Iceni's land and impose Roman government, they flogged Prothodogus's widow, Boudica, and raped his daughters. This was, to put it lightly, a mistake. The wronged queen led a coalition of rebel tribes that sacked 2 Roman settlements and very nearly drove the Romans right off the island. In the end, however, Boudica was defeated in battle in 61 CE. According to the Roman historian Tacitus, she poisoned herself to avoid capture. Cassius Dio, another historian of the time, reports that she died of battle wounds. However, she died. No one knows what happened to her body. There have been some claims that she is buried under King's Cross Station in London. It's more likely that her grave, if there is one, is somewhere near Shropshire, where the Romans at last defeated her and her forces. In any case, even if someone does dig up bones that might be Boudica's, it's unlikely we would ever know for sure. Sometimes, DNA can be isolated from ancient remains to identify individuals. But Lindsay, an archaeologist at the University of York who specializes in Iron Age Britain, explains that for conclusive proof, remains must be well preserved, and we would need a modern relative for comparison. It's unlikely that either would be the case with remains thought to be Boudica's. That doesn't mean the warrior queen is forgotten. Boudica became a hero to the modern women to the British suffrage movement, and a statue of her stands in London today as a reminder of the independence of the British, and more to the point, of women in general. Attila, king of the Huns. Attila ruled the Huns from 440 to 453 CE, and despite defeating many tribes who threatened the Roman Empire, he managed to be a major thorn in the side of the Romans. After inheriting an empire that was stretched from the Alps to the Caspian Sea, Attila negotiated a treaty with the Romans, which involved paying what amounted to protection money to Attila. When the Romans didn't pay up, Attila attacked and pillaged their cities. His raids are thought to have been a significant factor in the fall of Rome. The Hun leaders' tactics were so fierce and bloody that even today we use Attila as a synonym for viciousness. Surprisingly, Attila didn't die in a battle, but in his bed. In the decline and fall of Roman Empire, historian Edward Gibbon describes Attila's gruesome and bloody, if most likely natural death. An artery had suddenly burst, and as Attila lay in a supine posture, he was suffocated by a torrent of blood, which instead of finding a passage through the nostrils, regurgitated into the lungs and stomach. The historians of the time put the cause down to heavy drinking at the wedding feast. The story goes that Attila's body was buried in 3 nesting coffins, one of iron, one of silver, and one of gold. The men who buried him were killed, so they couldn't reveal the burial spot. The grave is believed to be somewhere in what is now Hungary. but the exact location is, surprise, still a mystery. If, as is likely, the grave was found and plundered after his death, we will never know the final resting place of the man who almost brought down the Roman Empire. Cleopatra, the last queen of Egypt. Cleopatra, the last pharaoh, tried to keep her kingdom independent of Rome. After the death of Julius Caesar, she teamed up with Mark Antony, who was also her lover and father of 3 of her children, to keep Octavian, Caesar's nephew and heir, from expanding his rule into Egypt. In the end, she was unsuccessful. When Octavian prevailed, Antony committed suicide. Shortly after, whether in grief over the loss of her lover or to avoid the humiliation of defeat and the ensuing slavery, Cleopatra killed herself by the bite of an Egyptian cobra. Roman historian Cassius Dio tells us that Octavian, who would soon become Augustus Caesar, with the graciousness of a victor, ordered Cleopatra buried beside her lover. But where? Alexandria presumably, but therein lies a problem of which you are already aware. A tsunami, earthquakes, and rising sea levels have devastated the Alexandrian coastline over the years. The area where the queen and her consort were most likely buried is now underwater. A team of archaeologists working in Taposiris Magna, a city about 30 miles west of Alexandria, have suggested that the queen's mausoleum might be found there, but there's little evidence to support the claim. Glenn Goldenhoe, an Egyptologist at the University of Liverpool, says the evidence linking Cleopatra to the site is limited to coins imprinted with her image. This only confirms that the place was used during her reign, not that she had any personal connection with the location. The tomb of Egypt's tragic queen is like to remain a mystery. Thank you so much for watching till the end. If you like our videos, then please subscribe our channel and hit the like button to get notified every time.